So ADA's continued to be on a downtrend following on from a previous update where I mentioned I was looking for ADA to be within a correction and for ADA to tap into this range between 38 cents to 42 cents. And you can see that we ended up exceeding this range, which is slightly bearish. And so what we could see is a continuation to the downside where the price of ADA would then breach below the local bottom, which at this point sits at around 37 cents. And so if the price of ADA was to breach below this level, what that would mean is that the Y wave is still in play. And what we still have forming is this 5-way structure. And so rather than the Y wave bottoming out at 37 cents, it's possible that we could go slightly deeper. And it's possible that this whole move to the downside could have formed the third wave. And this double X structure that we witnessed could have formed the fourth wave. And what we are forming right now is the fifth wave to the downside. And if that's the case, for this structure to be in play, the fourth wave would typically reach anywhere between 23.6% to 50% of the wave 3. So that range sits between, if I just bring in the fib tool, anywhere between around 42 cents to 47 cents. And you can see that we got rejected at the 50% retracement level. And yeah, what could have forming right now is the fifth wave, where the price of ADA would then have the potential to reach anywhere between the 1.236 to 1.6 level of the wave 4. And that region sits between 34 cents to around 30 cents. So yeah, we could see a slightly deeper move to the downside where we tap into this range, and then we'll be looking at for that reversal to the upside. And zooming in, you can see that on the hourly chart, we have been getting rejected at the 50 MA multiple times, which is of course bearish. We did have this corrective move to the upside made up of a WXY structure, like so, where the W wave was made up of an internal WXY structure, and the Y wave was also made up of an internal WXY structure. So if I bring in the fib tool, bring this down to 37.75 cents, what you can see is the Y wave ended up tapping into its typical range between 1 to 1.236. We got rejected at the 50 MA, and then we saw that further push to the downside where we then breached below the wave W at 37.73 cents, which then signaled that we were bearish. And so, yeah, it's possible that we could continue to see a deeper move to the downside, where it does look like what we are forming within this move here is a 5-way structure. So if I just delete this fib tool, what you can see is this whole move to the downside is impulsive rather than corrective. So we had the wave 1 that played out, followed by the wave 2, and then it looks like this is the wave 3, wave 4, and the wave 5. And so short term, what we could see is the price of ADA reach anywhere between around 36.85 cents to 37.39 cents. And then from there, what we could see is a small bounce to the upside, followed by a reversal where we'll go slightly deeper within this range here. And so if the price of ADA was to get rejected at the 50 MA once again, that would then signal that we're bearish and we could see a deep move to the downside. And zooming out, what you can also see is we have tapped into the oversold region now on the stochastic RSI. And so at some point in time, looking at for a bounce to the upside. Ideally, what we don't want is for the price of ADA to tap into this range, and instead we bottom out within this region and then we see a reversal. But nevertheless, I'm looking at for another push to the upside, and ideally what I'd like to see is for the price of ADA to break through the 50 MA, which has been acting as a level of resistance. So if the price of ADA was to break through the 50 MA, that would be a bullish signal. However, if we were to get rejected, that would be a bearish signal, and what we could see is a continuation to the downside. But of course, that's something I'm going to be looking at for in the days and weeks to come, and I will keep you guys updated.